Hi you guys, sorry now I'm out today. I am on a training day, but I didn't want to miss class, so I made this video so that hopefully we can kind of get done exactly what I want to get done. So I was explaining yesterday that we've done a bit of work on equation of a line, but it has all been, so let me see, this was the first question we did, and here in the blue circle you were given the equation of a line, and then you were asked questions based off it. I think we did one of them for homework as well, where you were given the equation of a line and you had to take information off it. And then the stuff we did yesterday, again, you're given the equation of a line, and I showed you how to get the slope, the y-intercept, and sketch the graph, and get the x-intercept and things like that. Okay, so the ones we're going to do today are ones where you don't have the line. Okay, so these ones are about finding the equation of the line. Okay, so where you're going to find it. Okay, and there's a formula for that. So it is here in the green box, and I showed it to you yesterday in the table book. Coordinate geometry. So there it is there. Okay, so equation of PQ, so that's equation of a line. The bottom one is the one we've been using, the one we used yesterday. And this one then is the one we're going to use today, the top one. Okay, so that top one there is how you find the equation of a line. Alright, so let's have a look at the equation. I'm just going to take the highlight off. Okay, so the plane y and the plane x, they are going to stay. They're not going to be changed or subbed into anything. They stay as part of the final equation. Because if you look at the ones we've done already, there is a y and an x in the equation of a line. The previous one, there's a y and an x in the equation of a line. Okay, so there's meant to be a y when you do an equation of a line, and there's meant to be an x when you do an equation of a line. Okay, and they're the ones that stay and form part of the answer. Okay, these ones, these ones here, the y1 and the x1, they are subbed. Okay, so you're going to need a point, and the point will be x1 and then y1. Okay, so that's where that goes. And then you should already know, the only other thing there is the m, and you should already know what m is. M is the slope. Okay, so to do these questions, to find the equation of a line, you need a point. The first bit of the point is going to go in here for x1, and the second bit of the point is going to go in here for y1. And then you also need a slope. So it might be a fraction, it might be a whole number, you need a slope. And the two red ones, the plane x and the plane y, they will actually stay and form part of your answer. Okay, so I'm going to put it back up here. To find an equation of a line, you need a point and a slope. Okay, so if you look at the question down at the bottom there, it says find the equation of the line containing the point 3, 4 with a slope 2. So I'm going to try and leave, actually I won't, I'll just write it again. Okay, so the question says find the equation of the line. So I go to my table book, I get my equation of a line formula, and I write it down. Okay, I'm going to take my point, which is here, and I'm going to label it. So the first part will be x1, and the second part y1, and then down here my slope is m. And like in the other formulas, I'm just going to sub everything in the right place. Okay, so the first y, the plane y, remains. There's a minus in the formula, and then y1 is 4. Copy the equals. M for slope is 2, bracket, the plane x stays, minus in the formula, and then x1 is 3. So I replaced y1, I replaced x1, and I replaced m with the appropriate numbers, and then I left x and y alone. Okay? So from here, it's kind of just algebra. Remember, you have two ways to present your line. The first way is y equals mx plus c, which is where you isolate y, and generally speaking, that's the easier one to do. So if you can, sorry, this is delayed. If you can isolate y, it's definitely the easier of the two. So I would suggest always isolate y unless the question specifically asks you to do it a different way, because doing it the other way is work, and isolating y is not any work. Really, you'll see what I mean now in a sec whenever this loads. Nearly there. Okay, the second way of presenting a line is the ax plus by plus c equals 0. So that's where you take everything to the left, okay? And that is more work. So I would say only do it if you're asked. If you are asked. Okay, so we use algebra basically to simplify this. So here on this right hand side we have a number outside the brackets, so we multiply it. Do you remember this? We multiply it distributively. So we're going to take the 2 and we're going to multiply it by the x, and then we're going to take the 2 and we're going to multiply it by the minus 3. Okay, so the left hand side is unchanged, y minus 4, and then the right hand side, the 2 by the x makes 2x, and the 2 by the minus 3 makes minus 6. And then we want to present it, we haven't been asked for a particular way of presenting it, so we want to present it with the y isolated. So that means we want this y on its own. At the moment it has a negative 4, so we can undo that with a positive 4. And then a positive 4 on the far side. And now the y is isolated. And on the far side we have 2x, which is not going to change because the 4 is just a number, so it's not going to combine with the x, it's going to combine with the minus 6. And minus 6 plus 4 is minus 2. And that is the equation of the line. Okay, so it's just using the formula, subbing in and simplifying. Okay, that's all you have to do. Second one here, so again, find the equation of the line. So I go and I get my formula. There it is. Almost. Nearly. There it is. So to fill this in, remember that I need an x1 and a y1. So I need a point. Do I have that? I do. There's x1 and y1. And I also need slope. Now I don't have a slope. It doesn't say anything about slope in that question. However, what they have given me is a second point. They've given me an x2 and a y2. And I really, to be able to do this, really need a slope. So if we go in here, do we have a formula for slope? Look at it here. Look, here's the slope formula. I'll clip it in. Okay, so there's my slope formula. And I have the points just up above. So starting off with y2, that's 5. The minus from the formula. y1 is 1. x2 is minus 3. The minus from the formula. And x1 is minus 2. Simplifying that, the top line becomes 4. And the bottom line, these two minuses coming together become a plus. So we have minus 3 plus 2. So that's minus 1. And 4 divided by minus 1 is minus 4. So now I have a slope. Okay, so I can go on with my question. The y remains, the minus is in the formula, y1 is 1, the equals, the slope I can pop in now is minus 4, brackets, the x stays, take that shape off, sorry. The x stays, the minus is in the formula, and then x1 is another minus 2. So then we have y minus 1 equals, I'm going to deal with the double minus in the bracket before I try and multiply because I just don't want to confuse myself. So I'm going to do minus 4 and then I'm going to turn the two minuses into a plus. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to multiply it here and here. So y minus 1 unchanged, minus 4 multiplied by x is minus 4x. And minus 4 multiplied by plus 2 is minus 8. And again, the question hasn't said what version of the equation of the line they want, so we're going to go with the easier one, which is just to isolate the y. At the moment, you have a minus 1, so we get rid of that with a plus 1. That will isolate your y, but if you plus 1 on the left, you have to plus 1 on the right. So the y is now isolated, the minus 4x is there, and then minus 8 plus 1 is minus 7. And that is your equation of a line. Okay, so they didn't give us the slope directly, but they did give us the slope. We just had to figure it out first. And that will happen in some of the questions where you've been asked for the equation of the line. You need to remember at all times when they ask you for equation of a line, it needs to come straight into your head. I need a point and a slope. Okay? The points, no problem, we actually had 2 of them, and you could have used either as your x1 and your y1, it doesn't matter. But the problem was the slope. We didn't have the slope, we actually had to go and figure it out for ourselves. Okay? So that is how you find the equation of a line. I'm going to give you a few of them to do. I just want to talk very briefly about the last thing in this chapter, and we definitely did this before. I think it came up in functions, but just to kind of bring it back to you. So I've shown you how to sketch lines. I've shown you how to sketch a line by finding 3 points, putting the dots on the graph and joining the dots, and then I've shown you how to sketch a line using the y-intercept as your starting point and then run and then rise. So that's 2 ways of sketching a line. Now, lines that are parallel to the x and y axis are actually much easier to draw. So you don't need to be finding points or anything like that. So I just want to show you very quickly. I'm just going to make a little graph here. Okay, sorry, zoom out a little bit. Okay, so we throw in some numbers. So my x values, a couple of minus ones. Okay, and then a couple of y values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a couple of negative ones. Okay, so lines that are parallel to the axis have a really simple, oh no, we're delayed. Lines that are parallel to the axis have really simple equations. So they're not, the ones we're used to seeing are like y equals 6x plus 2, or y equals minus 12x plus 4, or even y equals 2/3 x plus 6, or whatever. So we're used to seeing the kind of more normal versions of an equation of a line, but actually when they're parallel to the x or y axis. So I can't draw on this now because it's delayed, but parallel to if you have a line parallel to the y-axis, it's just going to be another vertical line. Does that make sense? If it's parallel to the y-axis, it means it's beside the y-axis but will never touch it. So that makes it a vertical line. And then if it's parallel to the x-axis, that will make it a horizontal line. It means it is in line or beside the x-axis, pointing in the same direction, whatever, and never going to meet. Okay, so lines that are parallel to the y-axis are vertical lines, and lines that are parallel to the x-axis are horizontal lines. And as soon as this catches up, I'll show you what the equations look like. I might try and shut it down actually. Okay, that seemed to work. Let's try again. Okay, so let me show you what lines parallel to the x and y axis look like. So here's an example of one. X equals 2. So if I was asked to sketch this line, I would go to where x equals 2. Sorry. I would go to where x equals 2, see the dot I've just put on? And I draw a line straight through that line. So the line x equal to 2 is a vertical line parallel to the y-axis. Okay, it is a vertical line which is parallel to the y-axis. Sorry, I'm nearly finished, it just keeps getting caught up. Okay, we'll try another one. So the line y equal to minus 4. So I go to where y equals minus 4, see it down the bottom there, and then I draw a line through that point, There it is there. And that's the line y equals -4. So that's just a horizontal line parallel to the x-axis. One more. No, we go to next. We go x equals -6. So I go to our x equals -6, which is over there on the left, and I draw a line through that point. So there's x equals -6. Okay, and that's how you draw lines parallel to the x and y axis. Okay, and that's that chapter done. So I'm going to throw your homework into the I'll attach it to this email, and I'll also put it into the homework journal, and I'll put it on Schoology as well. Okay, so that's that chapter finished, and we will go in and have a look at, I'm not going to finish the higher level chapter, but I know exactly how far I have to go for your exam. Okay, so hopefully we'll be finished that on Friday. We'll definitely be finished that on Friday, and we can start into the algebra. Alright, okay, so get your homework done and I'll correct it on Friday.